If you can make a man think about you when you're not around, if you can own his silence without saying a word, and if you can control his mind, darling, his heart will follow like a shadow. This isn't about playing games. This is about becoming the game. Stop chasing. Start becoming unforgettable. Let's talk about how to control his mind and own his heart without even touching him. You see, the reason most women lose their power early in a relationship is simple. They become an open book too fast. They pour out every secret, every detail, every scar. And suddenly, there's nothing left for him to discover. And what's too easy to access? It's too easy to forget. Mystery is not about being fake. It's about being rare. It's about being strategically unknown. When a man thinks he knows everything about you in week 1, what's left for his curiosity to chase? Nothing. But when you keep parts of yourself quietly hidden, your thoughts, your dreams, your fears, your past, you become a puzzle his mind won't stop trying to solve. And that puzzle will keep him coming back. Not for your body, for your mind. Let me give you a real example. Think about your favorite movie. The one you've watched 10 times and still love. Why do you keep rewatching it? Because it still reveals something new. A line you didn't notice before. A look you missed. In daily life, this means stop explaining your every emotion. He doesn't need to know why you were quiet this morning. He doesn't need to understand your every thought. Let your silence speak. Let your absence sometimes create presence. Let him feel your vibe without you saying a word. Women who speak less, observe more, and reveal slow. Those are the women who leave men haunted in the best way. Imagine you walk into a room, you smile gently, your energy is warm, but you don't try too hard to be liked. You speak when needed, and when you do, every word feels chosen. He's watching. He's intrigued. He's thinking, who is she? What's her story? Why can't I stop thinking about her? That is mystery. That is power. Don't give your story to someone who hasn't earned a chapter. You are not obligated to spill your soul just because someone asked. Power is knowing what to share and what to protect. The most magnetic women are not the ones who tell you everything. They're the ones who make you want to know more without ever asking for your attention. Let me tell you something else. Men are wired to chase what they don't fully understand. The moment they think they've figured you out, the chase ends. But when they feel like there's always something new to discover about you, your thoughts, your ambition, your strength, your mystery, they stay mentally engaged. And when you've got a man's mind, his heart is not far behind. Look at real life. Think of that one woman who walks confidently, who doesn't post every moment of her life, who doesn't respond instantly, who keeps her circle small, her energy sacred, her vibe controlled. She doesn't seek validation because she is the validation. Men talk about her, they admire her, and they wonder, why does she feel different? It's because she is. It's because she's not loud, she's legendary. Never let a man feel like he has full access to your inner world without effort. Your soul is not a Wi-Fi connection. He doesn't get the password just because he's near you. He earns it through respect, through consistency, through presence. And even then, give him just enough to keep him fascinated, but never enough to feel he owns your magic. You weren't made to be understood by everyone. You were made to be felt deeply by the few who know how to value depth. Mystery is not just seductive, it's a form of self-respect. And when you wear it well, girl, you don't chase hearts. They come looking for yours. Silence is not weakness, silence is strategy. It is the most powerful move you can make when the world expects you to react. Power? It doesn't scream. It whispers with impact. It moves without noise. It teaches without teaching. Silence is the art of keeping your power where it belongs. With you. When he pulls away, what do most women do? They panic. A woman who goes quiet, disappears, and lets the emptiness echo. Let's say you're in a heated argument, everyone's yelling. He expects you to shout too, to throw your words like weapons. But instead you take a breath, look him in the eye, and say nothing. Just silence. Stillness. You walk away without a single insult. Do you know what that does? It confuses his chaos. He doesn't know what to do with a woman who won't hand over her emotions to be played with. Silence is self-control. Silence is power, dressed in poise. In real life, think about the workplace. The woman who listens more than she speaks in meetings, she's watching. She's calculating. And when she finally speaks, every word lands like a bullet of brilliance. People respect her not because she talks constantly, but because when she does, she means it. Be that woman in every room you enter. Don't compete with noise. Outclass it. Now let's go personal. Imagine he ghosts you. No explanation. No goodbye. Just silence. What do? You go even quieter. You don't send that text. You don't stalk his stories. You don't beg for closure. Because silence in that moment becomes your boundary. It says, I don't chase what chooses confusion. I don't fight for attention. I am the attention. That silence will haunt him longer than any message you could have sent. Sometimes, silence is the best answer to disrespect. You don't have to react to everything. Not every insult needs a comeback. Not every rejection needs a response. The loudest move a woman can make is to stop showing up where she's not appreciated. That silence, it's not revenge, it's evolution. There's a woman I know who ended a long, painful relationship. Everyone expected her to break down, lash out, tell the world. But she said nothing. She posted no drama. She blocked, moved, healed, and glowed. And you know what happened? He came back. Not because she begged, but because her silence screamed, I've outgrown this. That silence turned her pain into power. It wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Your silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much about yourself to explain your worth. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not every situation deserves your voice. Sometimes, the most elegant form of strength is walking away without a sound. No tears, no talk, just Men remember the quiet ones, not the ones who cried and pleaded, the ones who stayed calm, kept their mystery, and vanished like a queen who doesn't entertain clowns. You don't have to announce your growth. Let your absence raise the volume. Let your silence shake their ego. Because when a woman masters the power of not responding, she masters control over everything. In a world addicted to attention, your silence is a rebellion. And in relationships, it's a revolution. Because the woman who can walk away in silence is the woman he can never forget. Control the emotional climate and you control the connection. It's not about manipulation, it's about mastery. The woman who knows how to regulate her emotions is the woman who holds the remote to every room she enters. She decides the volume. She decides the temperature. She decides whether things calm or explode. And here's the truth. Most relationships fail not because of a lack of love, but because of uncontrolled emotional chaos. When you learn to keep your inner world balanced, you become untouchable. You stop reacting and start commanding. Let's be honest, he pulls away for a few hours, maybe leaves a message on read, and instantly your mood shifts. Anxiety creeps in, you start wondering, overthinking, spiraling. Now pause. That's the moment where most women give away their emotional climate. They let his behavior dictate their peace. But what if you did the opposite? What if you said, he's silent? Cool. My peace isn't up for negotiation today. That's power. That's self-ownership. A woman who controls her emotional climate doesn't get dragged by the weather of someone else's moods. She creates her own sun. She builds her own calm. If he walks in angry, she doesn't catch the fire. She stays. Cool. If he tries to guilt trip her, she doesn't bite the bait. She responds with grace, not reaction. That kind of energy, it makes a man think twice. It earns respect deeper than beauty ever could. Let me give you a real life story. There's a woman I knew in a high pressure job. Her boss was rude, dismissive, constantly projecting his stress onto the team. Every time he entered the room, people panicked. But she stayed calm. She didn't react. She smiled, handled her work, and let his chaos pass through her like wind. Eventually, that same boss started treating her differently. Why? Because her emotional climate couldn't be penetrated. She radiated calm so powerfully, even storms adjusted their speed around her. In your relationship, understand this. Emotions are contagious. If you're reactive, he becomes defensive. If you're chaotic, he pulls back. But if you're grounded, secure, and emotionally stable, you become a mirror that reflects strength. And men are deeply drawn to women who don't crack under pressure. Not because they want you emotionless, but because they crave safety in a world full of noise. Think of it like this. A man might not always remember what you said, but he'll never forget how he felt around you. Did he feel peace or pressure? Did he feel inspired or attacked? Did he feel safe to open up or scared to say the wrong thing? When you master your emotional climate, you create an atmosphere that pulls him in. Not through force, but through flow. Let's say he does something that disappoints you. The average response? Lash out, lecture, explode. But the powerful woman pauses. She breathes. She lets the initial emotion pass. Then she speaks with clarity, not confusion. She doesn't use words as weapons. She uses them as mirrors. That behavior doesn't align with what I accept. Period. No drama, just direction. That hits different. That changes people. Your emotional control is not suppression, it's elevation. You don't bury how you feel, you rise above it. You say, I can feel deeply and still respond wisely. That's a queen move. That's emotional intelligence. That's what separates a girl who needs attention from a woman who commands it without asking. There's a reason some women walk into a room and instantly change the vibe. It's not always their looks. It's their energy. It's their emotional state. It's the way they carry themselves. Like storms could swirl around them, but they'd still sip their coffee unbothered. That's not apathy. That's control. That's inner wealth. That's a woman who doesn't let someone else's instability shake her foundation. Mirror his energy and then disappear. This is not about playing games. It's about protecting your spirit. You don't chase someone who walks in confusion. You don't pour into a cup that never fills yours. When someone pulls back, you pull back. When he gets cold, you get colder. But the difference is, you do it with elegance, with grace, with dignity. You mirror his energy not to manipulate, but to remind him, I will only match what I'm given, nothing more, nothing less. There is power in reflection. You don't have to argue. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Just mirror. Let his silence meet your silence. Let his inconsistency meet your distance. When you stop explaining, chasing, fixing, you shift the balance. Because a woman who mirrors energy is telling the world, I am not desperate. I am deliberate. I know a woman who kept giving chances. Every time he disappeared, she'd reach out. Every time he came, back with half effort, she gave her whole heart again. Until one day, she decided to mirror his behavior. He took 4 hours to reply. She took 4 hours to respond. He gave short answers. She gave shorter. And when he stopped trying, she didn't try either. But she didn't just mirror. She vanished. She stopped explaining her silence, stopped proving her value. She disappeared into her peace. And that's when everything changed. Not because he deserved her, but because she finally chose herself. This principle applies everywhere, in relationships, friendships, even business. Let's say your coworker stops pulling their weight, takes advantage of your kindness. Instead of getting angry or overcompensating, you start matching their effort. No more staying late to cover for them. No more picking up the slack. Suddenly, they feel the void. They see what your presence really carried. And when they do, it's too late. That's the beauty of the mirror. It exposes without you saying a single word. You don't need to break down every time someone breaks your expectations. Sometimes the loudest statement you can make is to stop showing up. When you mirror his energy and walk away, you send a message he'll never forget.